Stop what you are doing right now and go to your kitchen drawer. Not after this video, right now. Because what I am about to show you in the next few minutes is sitting in your kitchen at this exact moment, and it has been sitting there for years. Pull out that roll of parchment paper, the one you trust, the one you use every single week to roast your vegetables, line your baking sheets, cook your fish. Look at the box. It probably says non-stick. It probably says oven safe. It might even say natural or trusted by home bakers. What it almost certainly does not say, what no major brand has ever voluntarily printed on that packaging, is what is actually making it non-stick. Because here's what the manufacturers know and have never told you. A 2024 CDC report confirmed that nearly 100% of Americans, nearly every single person watching this video right now, already have measurable levels of PFAS in their blood. Per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances, the same class of forever chemicals the EPA linked in April 2024 to kidney cancer, testicular cancer, liver damage, immune suppression, and hormone disruption. The same chemicals that do not break down, not in the environment, not in your body, never. And independent laboratory testing has now confirmed they are in the parchment paper sitting in your kitchen drawer. If you are over 60, this is not a small concern. Your immune system is already working harder than it did at 40. Your liver filters less efficiently. Your hormones are already in a more delicate balance. Every sheet of contaminated parchment paper you place beneath your food inside a 400-degree oven is not a single exposure. It is one more weekly addition to a chemical load your body has been quietly carrying for decades and has no biological mechanism to eliminate. I am going to name the brands, I am going to give you the exact laboratory numbers, and I am going to tell you the two products that tested at 0 detected fluorine, completely clean. But first, you need to understand exactly what these chemicals are doing inside your body. Stay with me. This changes everything you thought you knew about your kitchen. Brand number 1, Reynolds Kitchens Parchment Paper. Reynolds Kitchens Parchment Paper is produced by Reynolds Consumer Products, Inc., headquartered in Lake Forest, Illinois, a company with over $1 billion in annual revenue, whose products are found in a substantial majority of American homes. When Mamavation submitted Reynolds Kitchen Parchment Paper to an EPA-certified laboratory for total fluorine testing, the standard marker test for PFAS, the result came back at 14 parts per million of fluorine. Mamavation's published conclusion was unambiguous: we cannot recommend this product. To be precise, 14 ppm falls below the 100 ppm threshold that the BPI Compost Manufacturing Alliance uses to define intentional PFAS addition. But Mamavation's consumer safety standard for parchment paper is non-detect below 10 ppm, and Reynolds at 14 ppm exceeded it. For a senior woman lining a baking sheet every Sunday for 20 years, those 14 ppm of fluorine become part of a cumulative picture. The label says nothing about it. The packaging calls it simply kitchen parchment, and it is currently sold in virtually every American grocery store, club warehouse, and online retailer. Brand number 2, Kirkland Signature Parchment Paper, Costco. Kirkland Signature Culinary Parchment Paper is the private label parchment product of Costco Wholesale Corporation, headquartered in Issaquah, Washington, a company with over $200 billion in annual revenue. Mamavation submitted Kirkland Signature Culinary Parchment Paper to the same EPA-certified laboratory using the same total fluorine marker test. The result, 12 parts per million of fluorine. Mamavation's published conclusion was identical: we cannot recommend Kirkland parchment paper products. For Costco's core demographic, families and seniors who buy in bulk and use the same parchment roll for months, this finding is particularly relevant. A Costco member who purchases a single large roll and uses it for daily or near-daily baking over 6 months is creating a sustained, repeated dietary exposure pathway to PFAS from a product they have been trusting as a simple, inert kitchen tool. The product carries no PFAS disclosure, no fluorine warning, no third-party testing certification visible on the box. Brand number 3, generic bleached white parchment paper. Here is the number that stops most people: 15,000. That is how many distinct PFAS chemical compounds have been identified and released into the environment, according to the consumer safety research organization Mamavation. And independent laboratory testing currently has the capacity to identify fewer than 1% of them. Every bleached white parchment paper on American shelves, store brand versions sold by Walmart, Great Value, Target, Good and Gather, Whole Foods, 365, and dozens of regional grocery chains, has been processed using chlorine chemistry that the World Health Organization confirms produces dioxins as a manufacturing byproduct. Even if a bleached white parchment paper brand, regardless of its PFAS status, has published independent third-party dioxin testing results for the consumer to verify. Brand number 4, wax paper used as a baking substitute. This brand kills the most people, not by name, but by category. Millions of American seniors still reach for wax paper when they run out of parchment, including store-brand versions by Reynolds Cut-Right wax paper, Glad Press and Seal, and generic supermarket labels. Wax paper is coated with petroleum-based paraffin wax, a product of crude oil refining. When heated in an oven above approximately 200 degrees Fahrenheit, paraffin wax melts and transfers directly onto food. Some wax papers carry additional PFAS coatings for moisture resistance. Brand 5, Quilon-coated parchment paper. The 5th category is one most consumers have never heard of, and that is precisely the problem. Some parchment papers sold in the United States are still coated with Quilon, a chromium-based release agent, rather than food-grade silicone. Quilon-coated parchment papers are typically found in commercial kitchen supply stores, restaurant supply retailers, and in some generic online marketplace listings. Chromium is a heavy metal classified by the EPA as a human carcinogen in its hexavalent form. Quilon-coated parchment does not disclose the chromium content on consumer-facing packaging. There is no federal requirement to do so. For a senior who orders bulk baking supplies online, increasingly common for the over 60 demographic, a Quilon-coated commercial parchment paper could arrive labeled simply as non-stick baking paper with no indication of what chemical is creating that non-stick surface. The test: if a parchment paper package does not specifically state silicone-coated, you should assume the coating is either undisclosed Quilon or an unverified PFAS-containing compound until proven otherwise. The 2 safe brands. Safe brand number 1, If You Care Parchment Baking Paper. If You Care Parchment Baking Paper, manufactured and distributed by If You Care USA, a division of Scandinavian manufacturer Naturoko, is the only major parchment paper brand to have been submitted to an EPA-certified laboratory by Mamavation and returned a non-detect result, meaning the lab found 0 fluorine above the 10 ppm detection threshold. 0, not 14 ppm like Reynolds, not 12 ppm like Kirkland. 0. The product is unbleached. It is the natural brown color that indicates no chlorine chemistry was used in manufacturing, eliminating the dioxin manufacturing pathway entirely. It carries the U-Eco-Label certification, the BPI compostable certification, and is produced using FSC-certified paper pulp with a food-grade silicone coating. The silicone coating is verified food-safe and does not contain PFAS, chromium, or Quilon. It is heat-stable to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, covering the full range of baking temperatures used in a home kitchen. If You Care Parchment Baking Paper is available at Whole Foods Market, Natural Grocers, Sprouts Farmers Market, Amazon, and through health-focused online retailers nationwide. For a senior woman who bakes weekly, switching from Reynolds to If You Care is the single most impactful parchment paper decision she can make, backed by the only published independent laboratory evidence in the consumer market. Safe brand number 2. Bar Patapar Cooking Parchment Paper. Bar Patapar Cooking Parchment Paper, produced by Bar Products, Inc., headquartered in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, is one of the few parchment papers specifically classified as uncoated parchment paper, meaning it contains no silicone coating, no PFAS chemistry, and no Quilon treatment of any kind. Leah Segedy, founder of Momavation and named the PFAS Hunter by Consumer Reports, specifically recommends Patapar as a top-tier uncoated option. Independent third-party testing confirms non-detectable levels of PFAS in the product. Because it is uncoated, it has a slightly different texture from conventional silicone-coated parchment and works optimally for steam cooking and wrapping applications rather than dry heat sheet pan baking. It is heat-safe to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and is available directly from Bar Products online and through selected health and natural food retailers. For seniors who cook fish or vegetables in parchment packets, a technique recommended by cardiologists for its heart health benefits, Patapar delivers that cooking method without adding a single synthetic chemical compound to the food inside. So there you have it. Something as simple as a sheet of parchment paper, something you probably never thought twice about, may have silently added chemicals to every roasted vegetable, every baked salmon, every sheet of cookies you have made for your family. The good news is this is the easiest swap you will ever make. You're not overhauling your kitchen, replacing every tool, or spending extra money chasing complicated solutions. You are not changing your lifestyle in any dramatic way. You are simply reaching for a different box the next time you shop. That's it. A small, almost effortless decision, but one that quietly changes what enters your home and, more importantly, your body. If You Care Parchment Baking Paper. Bar Patapar Cooking Parchment Paper. 2 products that independent laboratory testing confirmed contain 0 detected fluorine. 0. Not reduced, not within acceptable limits, none at all. And that's the standard your kitchen truly deserves. PFASs do not announce themselves. They don't come with bold warning labels or obvious signs. They have no taste, no smell, no color. There is nothing your senses can detect, nothing that alerts you in the moment. Instead, they accumulate silently, in your blood, in your organs, within your system, year after year, decade after decade. By the time science fully uncovers their long-term impact, your body may have already been carrying that burden for years without you even realizing it. That's what makes this choice so powerful. You do not have to wait for federal agencies, delayed regulations, or public awareness to catch up. You already have the information, and that gives you control. A safer kitchen does not require a complete overhaul. It starts with something simple: one decision, one product, one small shift that protects you in ways most people still don't even realize matter. Share this video with someone you love who bakes. Send it to your sister, your neighbor, your daughter who meal preps every Sunday. The brands are in the description. The sources are listed below. Your kitchen should be the safest room in your home. Today, we made it a little bit safer. See you next week.